and welcome to the meeting of the Tahoe Truckee Unified School District Board of Trustees. Today is April 6th, 2022. The board did meet in closed session this evening and took no reportable action in closed session. If you would all please stay seated and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you so much. I'm sorry I mute us because we all talk at different speeds. Any changes to this evening's agenda, Superintendent Geisels?
No, President Zurich, no changes.
Would anyone like to move approval?
I'll move. Am I on? Sorry. I hear echo. Sorry. I move to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Levac? Member Levac? She's having... Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurich?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our report from our Superintendent Chief Learning Officer, Geisels.
Thank you, President Zurich. Well, I'm very excited to announce some wonderful news as far as our Classified and Teacher of the Year winners. The following names I'm going to read out are going to represent us in our Placer County Office of Education meeting and represent our district, and they're so well deserved. And each one of these winners were chosen by a group of their peers. There was a nomination form process, and then names were redacted, and the committee didn't know who they were voting on, just the qualities that were listed. So our Teacher of the Year nominee this year is Craig Rowe. He is at Truckee High School. Oh, and by the way, I've invited them all next board meeting on the 20th so we can acknowledge them then. Our Health and Human Services Classified Employee School of the Year is Hillary Jimenez at North Tahoe High School. Our Custodial Classified School Employee of the Year is Maria Bribieska. Our Transportation Classified Employee of the Year is Tichelle Criswell. Our Clerical and Administrative Services Classified Employee of the Year is Melissa Gianetto. Our Security Services Classified Employee of the Year is Mr. Tom Mohoon from Truckee High. Food and Nutrition Classified Employee of the Year is Lisa Ray. And our Paraprofessional Services Classified School Employee of the Year is Mandy Amanda Carbonin. So very excited from the early learning program. So congratulations to all of them. We're so excited. They're so well deserving of this, and there'll be a Placer County Office of Education celebration on Monday, May 9th from 4:30 to 6:30 at the Morgan Creek Golf Course in Roseville. So they will all get an invitation for that. So we'll see them virtually on the April 20th board meeting. And also on a happy note, it's my pleasure to introduce our principal of Tahoe Lake Elementary, Ms. Stephanie Focek, who is here to give us a much needed kid fix. Yeah. Ms. Focek.
Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me tonight. We always love to share highlights from our school, and we always, when we know our school board update, the opportunity is coming, as a leadership team, we talk about, like, what do we really want to highlight? And I always really want to somehow include our teachers' voices and our student voices as much as possible, because we hear from principals a lot, but we want to get the feel of the classroom. And this year, our kindergarten and TK team said they wanted to present, and I was thrilled. And so what they have done is created a really awesome video, a short video to share with you some highlights from within the kindergarten and TK room. So I'll play that for you. And a fun tidbit about it is that it actually was filmed and edited by one of our yard duty supervisors, who is also a Nortel High School graduate. So he does time also helping out in classes in between recess and lunch recess. So he was the mastermind behind the filming. So all credit to our TK kindergarten teachers and yard duty supervisor. So I'll go ahead and present my screen. And find the right tab. Too many tabs open. Here it is. All right, are you able to see?
Yes, Stephanie, we can see.
Wonderful. So just the intro slide here. Welcome to Tahoe Lake. And I just always feel like you often find Tahoe Lake at the end of the rainbow. And so wanted to share that with you. And on to the video. Here we go.
Welcome, school board members. Thank you for coming to visit the kindergarten class at Tahoe Lake Elementary. These are wonderful kindergartners here, and I'm Mrs. Nordby. We do lots of songs in kindergarten to help us learn many different things. So we'd like to share some of our songs with you. Ready? Here we go.
We're going to sing a little part of one of our songs from the play, The Mitten, that we did back in February. Here we go, ready? My mitten, my fuzzy mitten, my mitten, keep my hair warm. Hi, my name is Suzanne Lai, and I'm the teacher here at Tahoe Lake, and this is my wonderful TK class. We are just about to start centers. We have centers Tuesdays through Fridays.
So we're going to get ready right now to start. So, boys and girls, would you go to your centers, please?
Hi, this is one of our centers. This is the Listening Center, and the students today are listening to Black Belt Bunny, which is a really cute story, and then they will fill out the Listening Center post and write about their favorite part, and when they're done, they will come and look at books. So that's an independent center. This is another center. This is the art center, and this is a parent center. This is...
And my name is Miss Emily. I have a grandson in class. And today we're doing bunny baskets that will be filled later on with eggs in the back. So we're just doing the face this morning. And they are getting ready to glue on the cotton balls.
Hi, I'm Miss Jamie. I'm one of the aides here at Tahoe Lake. This center is our sight word center, where the children are practicing reading and writing our sight words. So who would like to read one of the words? We're going to go around. Brant, you want to show your word?
Every day we do word work also. Today we're building 4 words. What are our words we're building today, you guys? Yes, here, me, because. Okay, you ready to sing because? Here we go, ready? B-E-C-A-U-S-E is how we spell because. B-E-C-A-U-S-E because. Very nice. Good job, you guys.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Adams. I teach kindergarten at Tahoe Lake Elementary. Thank you so much for all of the new additions to our school and our building. We love Tahoe Lake Elementary. Today you're going to be seeing the students do independent math centers to build their number sense and then critical thinking.
What's a square? Does it just show everybody? Does anybody have a square? Do you have a square? Focus. I have two squares. Does anyone have? Together. I already know my
Thank you so much, Ms. Focek. It's so fun.
It is so fun. And I just wanted to give you a sense of our kinders and our TKs and the amazing things that they are capable of and how engaged they are in their learning every day. And I apologize for the audio issues in the beginning. I forgot to mute my mic.
That's okay.
So can you tell us who was your videographer who made the...
Absolutely. As Robert Nordby. So Mrs. Nordby's son graduated North Tahoe High School, and he's back, and we're fortunate enough to scoop him up in yard duty, so we have him here every day, and a great addition short term while he's here this semester to our staff. So it's been really wonderful.
Thank you, and please thank your staff.
Will do.
Superintendent Geisels, is that the end of your report?
Yes, thank you. And I wish everyone a peaceful, joyful, relaxing spring break next week.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a donation to accept from North Tahoe High School's PTO for the lower field scoreboard.
Yes, so we have a donation, a generous donation from the North Tahoe High School PTO. It will contribute to the lower field scoreboard project. So it's in the amount of $2,000. So we're very thankful for the NTS High School PTO.
Thank you. And I want to acknowledge that based on board homework, we understand this is a shared project between the PTO, the district, and the Tahoe City PUD.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Any further board questions on this item? Any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Would someone like to make a motion to accept this donation?
I'll make a motion to accept the donation for the North Tahoe High School lower field scoreboard.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Liebach?
Aye.
Clerk Larson? Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Surek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have two grants. The first of which is from the Excellence in Ed Foundation for the TTUSD STEAM and Career Fairs.
So we have a donation from our Excellence in Education Foundation towards our career fairs and for that will assist our career technical education team to buy supplies and materials for the career fairs at a donation cost of $2,000.
Board questions? Public comment?
There is no public comment.
Would someone like to move to approve?
I'll move to accept the grant from Excellence in Education.
I'll second.
All in
Member
favor,
Hennessy?
please?
Aye.
Member Liebach?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Surek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have a grant from the the Tahoe Truckee Community Foundation for the North Tahoe High School band for their New York band bags.
Yes, just in time. The New York trip is scheduled from April 7th to April 12th. And I know Ms. Mitchell has let me know, Mr. Nordme is very excited about this trip. So this generous donation of $1,500 will go to the purchase of our band bags. So everyone will know where they're from in New York City.
Any questions? Public comment?
No public comment.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move to accept the grant from TTCF for the North Tahoe High School band bags for New York.
I'll second.
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Leback?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have a consent agenda. Superintendent Geisels, does staff wish to pull any items from the consent agenda?
No, President Zurich.
What about any board member? Nope. Would someone like to move to approve?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Is it not roll call? Okay, aye.
No, it is roll call, sorry. Lupita, you're muted.
Oh, okay, sorry. Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Leback?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our association reports, and we usually hear from CSCA first, and I understand Superintendent Geisels, they had no comments for this evening.
That is correct. Yes.
And so we will move to TTEA.
That's me. Hello.
Hi, Kate.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kate Teller. Let me get started here. So, well, it appears that spring has sprung, whether we were ready for it or not. And while I personally would have loved a miracle March, I do find myself enjoying our warm afternoons and longer days. Long days and nights and weekends full of planning, greeting, attending sporting events, plays, and other performances are the norm for educators in our district. I'm always so impressed with the level of dedication and professionalism that our educators bring to our schools every day. But frankly, people are feeling pretty tired and worn thin. While COVID may be in our recent past, the demands of teaching during the pandemic and the resulting effects on students continue to take a toll. In many ways, this year has been more challenging than the last. There's so much pressure to return to normal when we maybe just aren't there yet. Many students are still struggling with the systems and structures of a classroom after being out of them for a couple years. Constantly reinforcing acceptable behaviors, in addition to teaching content and academic skills, can be pretty exhausting. Also, many educators have said they're feeling the pinch of the rising cost of inflation, which has recently reached 7%. And we're noticing that in gas prices, food, and other living expenses. But we do have some bright spots. Getting to see some smiling faces while still allowing others to choose to wear a mask is helping to further strengthen connections. Watching our students enjoy visiting speakers, sports, and other extracurricular activities together definitely gives us hope that we can salvage some normalcy for them this year. We also appreciate the continued support from Excellence in Ed through their generous grants and awards. We're looking forward to seeing the outcomes of the most recent grant cycle. And we also look forward to continuing to strengthen the collaborative relationship between our board, administration, and TTA. And that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate. Appreciate it. And I think we all know that it's going to take a while for everyone to recover from everything that's been going on, and appreciate so much everyone's fortitude. And maybe, hopefully, we're done with this. So thank you. Very much appreciated for all TTUSD staff. Okay, I'm sorry, I need to go back to the agenda here. Okay. So next we have our educational services, and we are being asked to approve the school accountability report card. Superintendent Geisels.
Yes. So the School Accountability Report Card, or the SARC, is an annual report to parents of California school children, and it's required by the state of California. The SARC provides parents with valuable information overall about the overall performance of their school that their child attends, demographics, student data, teacher qualifications, if there's enough textbooks, school safety, and these are some of the areas covered in the report. Now, every year, they're supposed to be presented to the board by February 1st. We're a little off on the date, so we're presenting them to you now. There is one page, I believe it's page 5 in each of the reports, that remains blank because we're waiting for the state to populate that data, and it's about credentialing and of our teachers as far as their assignments. So I have Ms. Kramer and Ms. DeWald here who they can add a little bit more information. Ladies, if you'd like to add a little bit more about the SARCs for our board.
What I would share is just a really useful tool for parents, and especially parents that are considering our community in schools as they're looking at enrollment opportunities. I've had parents comment, going to the website, looking at the report card. It organizes student performance data in a really quick, easy way, class size information, quality of the facility. So it's just a really nice, quick glance at how is that particular school doing. So parents have said that they find it useful. So it's great to have them updated. Jenny?
Thank you, Kirsten. I support exactly what you said. It's a fantastic tool for our parents and our families in our community, and it serves everyone well, and they understand more about everything happening at each site. So it's appreciated to have them.
Thank you, ladies. So board questions on these. Galen?
I have a couple of questions. One is, well, first a comment. These new formats are very readable and understandable. And it's, you go from one to the next, you know where you are, and it's just easy to understand. Question is, I look at student performance, right? So in the first part of that for English language arts and then for math, it's not populated. But then you go down a couple of spaces and there's one that you do have information on. So I go back and I read it, and it's the state doesn't have this information yet, I think, and so it's not populated yet. We have it. So the information below, is that CAS real data that we took, and then the same stuff will show up later by the state?
My understanding was because last spring in 2021, the state, each district had the option of either participating in the CAS or using the local assessment data. And as a result, pre-populating didn't happen because some districts did not do the CAS. They used local assessment data, which the state can't populate in there. So I think that's why it's a little messy. Galen, moving forward, thankfully 2022, this spring we're on board. It's required to do the CAS. So going forward, those reports over the next 3 years will be consistent with the data again. I don't know, did that answer your question or?
Yes, that did. And so my second question, kind of the burning issue is, how far behind did we get with COVID and distance learning? And it said clearly in there, hey, we can't compare this because the testing isn't the same. And not liking that answer, I went back to 2018 and looked at our accountability reports, and it said CAS, but it may be a different test, I suppose. But I looked at them anyhow, and I compared results from for a couple of schools to see, if it was obviously got worse or stayed the same or what. And so a couple of questions here. One, how valid compared to today's testing would the CASP in 2018 be? And then my second comment is, wow, I look at Donner Trails, and it looks like they didn't skip a beat over the last 3 years. They were right up there. And some of the ones were not very far behind or were close. But I would just love to see that kind of comparison in the future, and I know Kirsten's going to be up to that. Kirsten?
Yes, and Galen, that celebration is just how TTUSD pivoted with the school closure back in March of 2020 and immediately put distance learning in place. And those teachers did not skip a beat. They really worked on identifying those priority standards and limiting. We knew we couldn't do the normal amount of learning. And then even last year when we returned to in-person on the reduced day, the teachers really worked to identify what was most important. And you can see the success. Our students, there's all that worry about the gap. And certainly the learning was not ideal for all students. And we're working hard to help support those students. And the ELO grant, the Extended Learning Opportunity Grant, is helping us put those interventions in place. But yeah, overall, very exciting. We were all really nervous and the results were wonderful. And then your question about comparing 2021's data to 2018, they did change the CAS slightly. They reduced the number of questions in the computer adaptive portion of the test just to help reduce test fatigue and recognizing that those school districts that chose to take the CAS, that really was a heavy lift for those kids given the circumstances. So they did reduce the number of questions, but the performance questions remained the same. They still had to read selected texts. They still had to read an involved math problem and really share their thinking and write essays. So it was still a demanding test, and TTUSD kids did amazing. And that's thanks to the community too, that families were working right there with the kids. It was definitely a community effort and something to celebrate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other board questions?
I just had a comment. Bless you, Kirsten. My comment was, even though I don't go as deep into the details as Mr. Larson does, I'm pretty proud that I also noticed that Donner Trail did amazing. But really my comment is the number of students at the schools. It just seems like, I didn't go and look at last year before, but it seems like we have high enrollment. And really what was like tugging at my heart was ACMS and their need for space, and looking at these elementary schools that are feeding into that middle school. And so I don't know, I'm sure that the powers that be are in tune with that, and that the principal's expressing what she needs for that site. But really I was just, wow, look at how high those numbers are at a lot of our schools. Really, I was surprised. It's just a comment.
Thank you, Chris. So I'll take the opportunity. That's funny. I agree with you, Chris, but I also noticed if you look at our class sizes, I'm proud of our class sizes. We have, I think if you look around the state, we have amazingly small class sizes. And that's been one of the things that we've worked on, I think, as a board and as a district. So that's great. Yay on us. So as we continue now out of COVID, I'm looking forward to closing this gap that we talk about between, honestly, our English learners, our socioeconomically disadvantaged kids, and others, as well as that math and ELA gap, which we have consistently seen over the years. So I, like Galen, when I opened the first one and there's no data, I'm like, what? But then as I went through it, I had the data, which was wonderful. So thank you for that. Very much appreciate the hard work on this, and the effort into personalizing it. Like North Tahoe High School did a wonderful job doing that. And we posted the ACMS Spanish version, which I also very much appreciate. So I don't have any real critical questions, but those are my comments on these documents in general. So, board, our next task is to approve these so they can be submitted. So do we have any public comment on these items?
No, there's no public comment on this item.
Would someone like to move approval?
Okay, so are we doing these one at a time, or are they all?
All at once.
Okay, I will move to approve the school accountability report cards.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Lidak?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurich?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to all for the hard work in going into this. And we'll look forward to next year where we have better comparability and have kind of that really substantive learning opportunity on how we can help our kids to continue to progress. So thank you so much. So next we're going to move on to personnel. And the first item is our School Services of California provided us a proposal to do a job classification special study. Superintendent Geisels.
Yes. This compensation study would analyze our current pay practices, determine if we're competitive for our industry and geographic locations. It would look at positions, not people, in these positions. It also will help determine if our employee salaries are in compliance with current employment and state federal laws. It will also help ensure that the district offers a salary and benefits package that is competitive with public labor market for our qualified employees when compensation comparisons are made from position to position. So and technically, as a general rule, districts should examine the overall salary structure at least every 3 to 5 years of this. This review should determine whether our structure is still aligned with our district's need and with the labor market and where we live. It is my understanding that TTUSD has not done a compensation study in at least a decade.
Since I've been on the board, that's almost 12 years. We have not done it.
So again, this is just to give us a overall review of where our salaries are in comparison. Again, it's not about people, it's about the positions and how we are offering our packages for compensation compared to other districts and in our geographic region. So this staff is looking to ask the board for an approval of option 1, which would be every position in the district, or option 2, which would only be a representation of different positions in the district in our classified job class. So we would do, we're asking that hopefully we can pass the option 1 and get approval from the board.
Thank you. As a follow-up, Superintendent Geisel, so my understanding that there's really 2 pieces to this. One is making sure that the job descriptions represent what folks are doing.
Actually doing, yes.
And that so they're accurately represent what the district needs someone to do for that particular position.
Right.
That the positions are properly aligned with those levels of responsibility within the organization. And then looking at the total compensation for each particular classification. Is that
exactly? Correct? And just for the first time, I believe, in quite a while, just really look and review at that for our district, for all employees.
Thank you. Other board questions? I believe we have public comment on this item.
Yes, I think we do.
Yes, we do have one, Mr. Stakely, coming.
Dave, we can see you, and I think we can hear you. There you go.
Yep. Is the audio working? Okay, cool. Thank you. I'm starting my timer. My name is David Stakely. I am a 6-year high school teacher at North Tahoe High School, a resident of Kings Beach, and also the lead negotiator for the Tahoe Truckee Education Association. My comment is in reference to this school service classification study. To spend about $100,000 in overall costs to study job duties and pay for all employees. The contract is troubling to TTA, other employees of the district, and the taxpayer for a few reasons. Who requested this study and why? Has TTUSD already had our HR department and business services department do an analysis to figure out what jobs are comparably underpaid and hard to recruit or retain? Why hasn't that data been presented to the public and the board before spending $100,000 to answer a question that we can use internal and public data to address on our own first? In fact, during negotiations last year, TTA presented a similar analysis for teacher salary between comparable local and basic aid districts at no cost. According to the contract provided to the board, consultants are billing at $310 an hour for additional services. That's higher than any district employee earns. Why pay the premium for the service when alternatives are readily available and less expensive to obtain? Collective bargaining already does this work and allows us to locally determine how to prioritize our spending. Why not listen to what our employees and stakeholders are saying now? Number two, this seems like an excessive amount of money to spend to determine which positions deserve more or less money. We can examples right now. The bus drivers of CSEA are extremely underpaid, and thus we have multiple open positions, and students are lacking home to school transport because we can't fill those positions and buses are sitting idle. We're also lacking custodians district-wide and having trouble hiring and retaining those positions as well. We're not sure we need a $100,000 study to tell us increasing compensation would help us to solve these issues. Why not spend the $100,000 directly on increasing compensation for these jobs and not simply studying the problem? Finally, what's the study methodology going to be, and will it be transparent? Which stakeholders will be involved and who will make these decisions? Or will a final report simply be created and disseminated? Additionally, why were the specific districts chosen for comparison in Appendix B? The basic aid districts that were chosen to be included don't appear to have a similar amount of excess tax per student as we do, even though they were similar in enrollment. And I wonder why some other geographically local districts were not included instead. Choices like these make a huge difference in the final conclusions of a report like this, and if taxpayer money is going to be used for this report, then a complete list of questions from all interested parties should be included. TTA was only told about this proposal, which clearly will have an impact on future salary negotiations, late last week, with no opportunity to discuss or provide input at the TTUSD informal meetings we've been having monthly this year. We would have loved to have a chance to talk about this before it came up to the board. TTA doesn't support this contract at this time. We think an expenditure of this magnitude should not be the first step to answer these type of questions. There are a few issues, as I mentioned, that we think we should discuss first. However, as is the board's duty, if you do choose to approve this contract, we would ask that it adopt a clearly transparent methodology with an opportunity for input, review, and comment before the report is finalized, as well as provide all those affected at a seat at the table, including TTA, CSEA, representatives from building level and district level admin.
Thank you. So, David, just one question for you. I was confused. Are you representing yourself, or is this a TTEA comment?
Yeah, I'm speaking. On by myself, but also we have discussed it at TTA. So this is a TTA comment.
Okay, thank you. That's super helpful. I appreciate it. Yep. Any other public comment?
No, there are no public comments.
Thank you. So we'll close public comment. I'm going to address. We don't usually do this, but as a human resource professional in my career, this is a very critical and common thing to do, as Superintendent Geisels mentioned. I think it's critical to have someone who is neutral perform this, because oftentimes internal studies are deemed by others to be biased. So while it is an expensive contract, it's a one-time expenditure. It's also cheaper than all of the other contracts that I was able to find our local agencies doing, because I also had some concern about the cost, as I know other board members have also. So nothing's hidden. Everything is going to be put out there for review. I actually worked with Superintendent Geisels on determining the comparator agencies. I looked very hard at the economics of each community included. We looked at the unduplicated students in each district. We included basic aid because we all know why we did that. So there's definitely a lot of thought and time and consideration put into the districts that we chose. So that there was quite a bit of forethought in doing this. And really this is providing us information, because we agree that we may have employees whose positions are improperly classified. And whether we have the opportunity to rectify that comes later on. But first we need that data, and data that is accumulated, we think, by an organization that really has no stake in the game. So I just, having worked on this a lot in the past, these types of processes, and being involved in kind of structuring the type of study that we're going to do, and being a penny pincher that I am, just wanted to comment on some of the thought process that went into this. It's about all the positions in the district, from the superintendent to our aides, to our teachers, to our bus drivers, everyone involved, so that we have a clearer picture of where we're at. And then we have to figure out if we can address any discrepancies or overpayments, hard to imagine that, in the future. So that's my little discussion on this particular item. So that being said, unless there's other board discussion, would someone like to make a motion on this item?
Okay, I will move to approve the School Services of California proposal for TTUSD job classifications special study contract.
Option 1, Kirsten.
Option 1.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Leback?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Kim, thank you so much for such a clear presentation of our intent. And yes, I'm in favor.
President Zurek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, let me get back to my agenda. Okay. So the next is we have a job description to approve for a school psychologist intern. Superintendent Geisels.
Yes, Ms. Apatini is going to provide us the details for this job description. Ms. Apatini?
Yes. So this job description was put together for twofold. One is to support up and coming school psychologists for our district, which we have some fabulous ones, but we're always looking for more with the needs of our students. And then secondly, it really helps us added support for school psych services for our kids. Mr. Santos, do you have anything to add to that?
Yep, no, thank you. I would agree. We have amazing psychs. One of the reasons why we wanted this is to expand opportunities. School psychologists have assumed more than your traditional testing role, doing a lot more social emotional counseling, behavioral supports. So our hope with this job description is that we can, for lack of a better phrase, grow our own and look at building people from the inside up. So looking forward to this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks you. Any board questions? Any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the job description for the school psychologist intern.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Leback?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then next we have our facilities, and that is approve an agreement between the TTUSD and Lionakis for facilities master planning services.
Mr. Rivera, would you like to provide the details?
Yes, thank you. So during our last facilities update to the board, we presented a lot of information on all the accomplishments that we had with our most recent facilities program, but we also identified that there was still some needs out there with regards to our facilities, including some major maintenance needs and making sure that we're maintaining what we just constructed. And as part of that recommendation was also to pursue a update on our facilities master plan, which is a long-range master plan that ranges from 5 to 7 years. The last time we updated that was in 2013-14. This is something that districts should do probably every 3 to 5 years, 3 to 5 or 5 to 7 years, just to make sure that you're addressing all your future facility needs. So the facilities department was very diligent and went out for a request for proposal for different architectural firms as well as other qualified consulting firms that prepare long-range master plans. And we're happy to see that we received 8 proposals from different firms throughout California. And we established a facilities master plan selection committee that was comprised of eight different persons that were either district staff. There was one board member on that as well. The facilities department established an evaluation matrix to essentially assess and rate the different firms' proposals that were submitted. There was a consensus on the final 3 top firms, which we invited to an interview process. Before we actually could engage in interviews, one of the firms actually dropped out, so we elected just to continue with the top 2 firms that were evaluated. And we went through a pretty extensive interview process and presentation of the firms. It was unanimous that Lionakis was the top firm and the one that all the members of that selection committee wanted to see move forward in preparing our facilities master plan. So after that, the negotiation process started for the final contract, and that's what we're bringing to you tonight. So over the course of the next several months, Lionakis will be, if you approve this contract, Lionakis will be starting the process of what they call a condition assessment of our current facilities and what our needs would be, but then also meeting with internal groups within our district as well as communities to get more input on what the future of our facilities will look like. So with that, this contract is with Lionakis for $266,000, and that will be paid from majority of developer fees.
Questions for Todd? Is there any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment.
Actually,
Board Member Levac?
Thank you. So included in facilities, does that also look at the athletic fields?
Yes, it'll look at current conditions of facilities and what we might have to do as far as major maintenance. It'll look at potential needs for additional facilities if the enrollment projections are showing that we might need expansion at school facilities, and it'll also be looking at just general core facility needs such as athletic facilities and gymnasiums and ensuring. But a lot of this process will be prioritizing those types of facilities, also getting community input as well as district input as well on what the priority needs are within the district.
Okay, great. Thanks, Todd.
Any other questions? Would anyone like to, we don't have public comment, right? Lupita, you already told us that.
Yes, there's no public comment.
So would someone like to make a motion on this item?
I'll move to approve the agreement between TTUSD and Lionakis for facilities master planning services.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Member Hennessy?
Aye.
Member Levac?
Aye.
Clerk Larson?
Yes.
President Zurich?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we move to board comments. Chris Hennessy, you want to start us off?
Sure. I was actually staring at my agenda and impressed at Kirsten's ability to say that contractor's name. not at your ability, but like I was impressed at how smoothly you did it. I don't have much. I just want to say the last couple of board meetings, it's just feeling really positive to me to know that we as a board have been working on updating the strategic plan, and we've been doing board work, to strengthen how our board works. And now with the facilities and the assessment of the job classification, it just feels really good that we're kind of, spring cleaning and just, getting back to regular issues, right, that are beyond COVID, though COVID is very much still present. It just feels really positive to be planning forward and just taking care of business. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Galen?
I'd just like to thank Kirsten and Jenny for spending this evening with us, but I have nothing to report.
Kirsten?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to report, but I will also piggyback on Chris's sort of stance on our optimistic view of the future, and the spring cleaning concept is definitely resonates, I think, for everyone. Much needed to have some positivism in our school district and in our conversations. So it does feel very refreshing. So yeah, with that, I'll close. Thank you.
Thank you. The only board business item I wanted to mention is I did meet with Emily Vitas last week to talk about the work that the Tahoe Truckee Workforce Housing Agency is doing around down payment assistance programs, and wanted to compliment that agency, of which we are a family partner, on the thinking on that. And I know that she's planning on bringing it to the full board. Was just picking my brain based on my past work experience. And I appreciate all the creativity that's going into that. And meeting tomorrow with the TTEAE board and executive staff of the district, and looking forward to that. And I think that's all I have. So unless we have anything else, we are ready to adjourn to our next regularly scheduled meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you all and have a great evening.